So today, guys, we are back at it with another Division 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about some of the best settings you guys can change. Now remember, I'm going to focus more on settings for like your in-game settings versus something that you would have to work on PC, because remember, for PC settings, it all depends on your setup. Now I am on my PS5, I do play on PC and PlayStation 5, just so most of you guys know by now. So for the first settings we're going to look into is the gameplay. A couple things you can change that I do is show vault indicators and show cover indicators. Now these indicators are that usually, like when you're running up to a thing, it says press X or circle to vault to climb over. I personally been playing the game a very long time, so I kind of don't like all these like little X's all over my screen. So for me, I typically turn those off. I like a little bit cleaner look. It's really up to you. For the on-call status, that's just if you want to go help out teammates or not, or just help out anybody in the world. I keep mine off because I don't want that sound constantly going on. So you can turn this on, turn it off. It's just a really quality of life for how you. The auto hide HUD, I definitely think this should be on. That's when you're just in the open world, you don't see it. Now when you aim, it pops up, right? So you see it right there. But the longer you go, it auto hides it. So very cool setting. Something I think most of you guys will like to have. We're gonna keep going down. We have the hints, in-game hints. Probably have this on if you're new, if you're returning. If you've been here a long time, by now you probably wanna get it off. So show damage numbers, I always have this on. I like to see what I'm hitting. The show radar, I always keep that on. That's gonna be on the top left. Show connectivity info, if you put this on, yes. If you go to this main menu where it says social, you can see it says US East and it has a little green symbol. So that means I'm in US East and it's green. So you see, we can't see when I highlight it, but it's right there. For player level visible, you can actually have this off or on. It's really up to you. That's just a personal preference if you want to clear up the screen. We'll keep going down and we'll look. I kind of leave these as default settings. Automatic group refill, I have that on default too. Show skills for full group. So if you guys ever notice when you're playing in a group and if you have a team with you, it will show, at least if you're watching my gameplay, you'll see my teammates and you'll see the skills under them. If you want to know what your teammates are running, whether you're in countdown, the raid, in matchmaking, or in the DZ, this is a great way for you to have that on. People can see exactly what skills you're running. So you're like, hey, can you guys switch this skill out for something else? A great feature to have on. Show numeric skill cooldown time, I always have that on, that's default. Exit photo mode when taking damage, that should be on, because if you're taking a photo, you take damage, you don't want to die. And then the GPS line, that's really up to you. I have mine off because I've been playing the game so long. If you have it on and like say I select something over here, right? You see that line? That's the GPS line. So if you want that line on, boom, you can have it on. If you don't, well, you can turn it off right there. It's all in the gameplay settings. So I'm gonna have mine off. The enable signature weapon swap effect, I keep mine off. I just don't like the extra special UI effect. You can have it on. That's when you're swapping to your specialization weapon. I personally like it off. Now, additional field of view, I personally max mine out. If we go down, this is what most people have theirs on. You can see how close your character looks, right? It's a lot zoomed in. Your character also looks like he's moving a little slower. They're both moving exactly the same. It's just a visual effect. If you want to be able to see more to your left, to your right, what I'll do is I'll show you. You see this American bar and grill right here? We're gonna have the grill part right there. And watch how much more I can see when I put max field of view that I do. So we'll go to settings. You grab that, we're gonna put max field of view, and while aiming, I just like mine like that. And then look, now we can see almost the, you see the American part, we can see almost the Rican part. Now it says bar, we only could see this before and it went all the way to here. So a big difference, and also your character looks like he moves a lot faster too. Even though they're moving the same speed, it's just a visual effect that you get from going a higher field of view. Also, when you have that, you notice, I feel like visually your recoil looks less too, versus when you're zoomed in. It's all visual. It's just the way it works when you do field of view. So just really up to you guys how you guys want to mess with that. That's up to you. We'll go down motion sickness. I always have mine off, and then the HUD tutorials I have off too. If you're new, returning, you might want to have that on for now. So let's go to UI. UI is one of the ones I get asked the question the most. You can customize your HUD, your button color mode, really up to you. Some people like classic, some people like colored, scrolling combat text. So I recommend floating, and those are those numbers when you're hitting. Everybody asks me, how do you get the numbers to spawn right next to people when you're shooting them? That's it right there. The raid speedrun UI, that's if you're doing speedruns, it'll pop up on the left, up to you. Active talents above crosshairs, I like that, right? So that's when you're zooming in, you can see the active talents above the crosshairs. So something for you guys to keep in mind when you're doing it. That's really just a personal preference. Loop beam visible, you can actually turn that off so you don't see the huge loop beams all over the map. Up to you. Audio, again, audio is going to be different whether you're on PC or console. It's really up to you. For controls, so let us go to the parkour mode. I actually have this one off because I feel like if I try to go into cover sometimes, it'll make me jump over automatically. I hate that. So I usually have that on off. The parkour where I'm auto running, I do have this one on. That's like if I'm just running for a long period of time, it will automatically sprint me. But I actually have my auto run off, and I'll explain why in a second. Camera sensitivity, this is really up to you. This is going to be the sensitivity you have here, right? This sensitivity right here, up, down, left, right. That sensitivity right there is gonna be the camera sensitivity, and this is gonna be the aim sensitivity. And you'll see which one, how I have mine right now. I just wanted to show you both real quick in case people were a little confused on them. So camera 20, aim 20. My scope sensitivity modifier, this is when I'm sniping. So only when you're scoped in with a sniper rifle, and I have that on 3. Controller vibration, I have that off. Button layout, default, that's really up to you. The left stick, right stick, dead zone, you only mess with this on older controllers. If you have a newer controller, you should be default. Invert y-axis controls, I don't mess with that unless that's how you play. Toggle to sprint, I actually have mine on no. So I have to hold my button down. Now the reason I do this is because in PvP, it's easier for you to strafe with it. So without having, when you're in combat, it's definitely a lot easier to strafe with holding the button down. So I'm holding it down right now. And I use a PlayStation 5 controller. So for me, it's a lot easier. There's the 2 buttons on the back. So again, if you use the PlayStation 5 Pro controller that PlayStation sells, it has the 2 paddles in the back. I use one of them to hold down the sprint. So that's why I don't need to have the toggle to sprint. I can hold it down. 180 sprint turn, I have that one off too, but you can have that one on. It's really up to you. Auto look center turn, centering the camera when moving on or off. I have that one off too. And then enable auto run. This is where you double tap auto run, but you have that yes, or you could have it off. So it doesn't really matter at this point. I can't do it because I need to hold the sprint, right? We have movement can exit cover. Definitely have this on because all I have to do is if I'm in cover, I just hit on my D stick and then back, or move on your mouse and you're good, right? We have cover movement around corners, press of a button. You don't want this on. You want to be able to just be in cover and then just naturally just go around it, right? Whether you're on mouse and keyboard or you're on controller like me, it just makes it for an easy experience. Cover move around corner with press of a button. Have that no. Move around corner speed, I keep mine on fast. It has slower, fast, fast. Aim assist, obviously, if you're on controller, you want that on. Grenade aim assist on. Hold to aim, yes. I mean, unless you like playing with that. Cancel skill while aiming. I love this because say if you're about to throw out a skill, but then you realize you don't want to throw out just yet, you can aim and it will cancel it and then you can still use it later. Enter long press to enter cover, and then I have that on no. You can put that on yes if you want. So it's really up to you. Now we go to graphics. And graphics, remember, are going to change. These are the settings I kind of have on my PS5. But again, I'll show you right now real quick what the settings I have for PC. And as I promised you guys, for the graphics on my PC, I'll just show you. I have mine on custom. You can see the brightness 11, 15, the VSync I have on, frame rate limit I have on. I have mine set right above where my monitor is. My monitor can go overclock at 160, but typically it's 144. So I have it right at 145, and then everything else very high. I have pretty much high settings on everything. This is what I'm talking about. This all depends on your system, right? It doesn't depend on my system. It depends on your system. So what I have here is definitely going to be something that won't mess you. Now, one thing I will tell you that I have is if you go to video, you head over to, I have full screen. I'm running 4K, 144. You see my monitor, it's set up. I only have one monitor on this one because I run a dual PC setup. I have DX12 off. Some people have it on. They said they fixed the issue. I don't want to take the chance. And I also run HDR off on my PC just because of how I have my setup. But that's, again, that is personal preference. The one thing I have heard, DX12 used to cause crashes, doesn't anymore. I keep mine off. But again, graphics, video, that's really up to you. Guys saw I was running almost full settings, max settings, everything on. It's just how I kind of run mine. So really up to you, but let's get into the rest. Now for VoIP, that's really up to you if you want to have that on or not. Now for accessibility, this is actually a good one that I wanted to point out is on-screen keyboard. You want to tap down on the D-pad. You can pull this up, and if you're on PS5, that means you could type and just pick the numbers what you think. So really cool feature right there. Overall though, that's pretty much all of my settings. Some people do like the colorblind mode because they do like to be able to see, like say if I use this one, right? And I'm gonna throw something out. Let's get a grenade. So you see how like it has the line. Some people like that. They like the being able to see these lines like that, so they know exactly where it's going, where the teammates are going. Now, if you have that off, you won't see those lines. A lot of PvP players do like switching these around and picking these because when they throw it out, they know exactly where the players are, right? So just something for you guys to keep in mind, whether you want this or not. You won't see this if you have colorblind mode off. So I'll show you real quick, just so you can see real quick. But a lot of PvP players, they do use that. But like if you do it with this, you see that's all you see. But they like that white outlines, you know, those little white outlines. But overall, those are all my settings. Like I said, I showed you what my graphics setting. So that's it, guys. Those are the settings I would recommend changing. If you have any questions, I'll see you guys in the next one. Nothing but skills out.